Kathy here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Every single week I sit down here on my channel and I write out a paycheck budget. It helps to keep me accountable. It helps to keep me on track with my goals. And today's video is going to be wrapping up the budget I wrote for this past week. I'm going to be going in and writing out everything that I spent throughout the last 7 days. My family and I are a family of 4 living in Southeast Michigan, so you get to see all of our expenses for the week. I'm going to write them all down. I'm going to use my highlighters here to categorize everything, and then I'm going to use those numbers to close out my paycheck budget for the week. So today is all about figuring out what I spent last week so that I can do my due diligence, close out my budget, and make sure I stayed on track. So let's get into it. So we are tracking for the week of March 4th through the 10th. I have my expense tracker here. This is part of my budget bundle that I have available to all of my channel members. Every single month I release a new patterned bundle of worksheets to help you stick to your budget. So if you are interested in getting your hands on these worksheets, I have them available as digital downloads for anyone that joins my channel membership at either the Budget Buddy tier or the Budget Bestie tier. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that today. Just know that the link for the membership is down below if you are interested in getting more information. And if you have any questions, of course, I am happy to answer those as well. But I don't want this video to be too long. My videos lately have been really long, and I'm trying to combat that. So let's start by talking about everything that I spent on the first day of the week, which for me was March 4th. I do my paycheck budget just 1 week at a time, since my husband and I are paid weekly, and we're paid on Tuesdays, so our paycheck budget starts on a Tuesday. So on Tuesday, when I get paid, I have this whole payday routine. The very first thing that I always do is I go in and I make a transfer of money from the account that my paycheck is direct deposited into a separate account that we keep for next month's bills. We are a month ahead on our bills, so every week I take a lump sum and I set it to the side so that I have that money available when the next month rolls around to pay all of my bills. All of the bills that are coming in throughout March are being paid with income I set aside in February. So that is the first thing that I do every single week when I get paid. And then I also go to the bank and I pull out cash for my short-term and long-term savings. So I have already stuffed this cash that I'm talking about in my video last week when I set up my paycheck budget. It was $400. I put a portion of that directly into the binders where I keep my sinking funds, which are like my short-term savings. And then I set aside some of it and played some games with it for more long-term stuff. So you would have already seen that. All right, so that was everything that I spent on the 4th. And because I did not spend money from my variable categories, that's the categories here on my paycheck budget down here. My groceries, my eating out, and my spending. That's the part of my budget that I tend to struggle with sticking to the budget the most. So any day that I don't spend from those categories, I like to reward myself with $5 to go into savings. So any day that I have what I consider a no spend, I like to take $5 and put it into savings. You will see me stuff that cash today in this video. On the 5th, I did my grocery shopping, and I always do my grocery shopping at Walmart. It's super convenient. Most of the time I do a Walmart delivery order. We are Walmart Plus members. And this should have been the other way around. The transaction was Walmart, the category was grocery. That's okay. We spent $142.25. Okay, on the 6th, we had a no spend day. So $5 more is going to go into savings for that. On the 7th, I went to McDonald's and got some breakfast. And so for that, the category is eating out. And the amount that I spent was $21.96. And that was everything for the 7th. On the 8th, we did a little bit more grocery shopping. There were a few things that we needed, and there was a bunch of stuff that my kids requested. So I put in another grocery order, and this time it was $135.38. We also this day were near a Long John Silver's, which we do not have near us and is one of my favorite places to eat. So we got dinner, and the amount that I spent was $46.38. Oh, nope, I almost skipped a transaction. Also on the 8th, we ran to Dollar General to pick up a few things. We needed some batteries and some other things. I took this out of my spending category. And the total that I spent was $16.60. On the 9th, we had a no spend day, so $5 more is going to go into savings for that. And on the 10th, we also had a no spend day. So yay, that's exciting. Any week that we can put $20 or more into savings for no spends, I consider a really good week. Okay, so that was all of the transactions for the week. Pretty low-key week, I think. Let's go ahead and do some math and some categorizing. So starting out with our bills category, we had just the one transaction for $700. Having us be a month ahead on bills really helps make this portion of the budgeting super, super easy. I don't even have to really think about it. I just set aside the lump sum that we need, and the bills all come out automatically. So that's that. Next, we will do savings, and for that, I'm going to use this green. So go ahead and put that down here. I like to do the highlighting first, just so it doesn't smear my pen. This specific pen doesn't smear a lot, but just in case. Sometimes I use a gel pen and it's really smeary, so I've just gotten into the habit of highlighting first when I can. In this case, this ink is all dried, so it should not smear on me. So we had the $400 for savings that we have already allocated, and then we've got $5, $10, $15, $20 in addition that's going to go into my mini savings challenges. So that's a total of $420 saved this week, which is awesome. All right, next we'll do eating out. I like to do eating out in yellow. I just like to do a different color for all of my transactions just to make it really apparent and easy to track everything. So we had McDonald's for $21.96. It also helps me remember what I've entered into the calculator and what I haven't when we have a ton of transactions, which happens sometimes. And then we had Long John Silver's for $46.38, which means we had a total for eating out this week of $68.34. Okay, for groceries, I always like to use pink. We had quite a hefty grocery bill this week. So we had $142.25 plus $135.38 for a total of $277.63. All right, and lastly then we have our spending category, which I'm going to highlight in this purple color, and we had just $16.60. Now, there was other money that got spent this week, but it was from our sinking funds or from other accounts. This is just the money that we spent from our paycheck budget. So this is what I like to keep track of week to week here on YouTube. This is where I struggle the most with my budget, so it makes sense that this is what I'm tracking regularly. All right, so 700 plus 420 plus 6834 plus 277.63 plus 1660. We spent a grand total of $1,482 with 57 cents. Okay, and for our variable categories, I like to get a total of just that, since that's where I struggle with the most. We have 6834 plus 277.63 plus 1660. So a grand total there of 362.57. All right, so now that I have completed my expense tracker and I know exactly how much money I spent throughout the week, I can use the information from this expense tracker to help me close out my paycheck budget. So that's what we are going to do next. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out this expense tracker and keep it to the side for me to reference. And I'm gonna flip here to my paycheck budget. All right, so for April's bills this week, I budgeted $700. As you can see here, my weekly transfer, I did, in fact, transfer $700, so that was as planned. And I did start this week out with $1,600 as anticipated, so that's all good there. All right, for groceries, I budgeted $200, and as you can see here, we overshot that budget by quite a bit. It was $277.63, so that's not great. Always better if I can stick to my grocery budget. However, I did underspend in these other categories, so we'll see if I'm able to kind of make up the difference. For eating out, I budgeted $100. We spent $68.34. And for spending, I budgeted $50 and we spent $16.60. So we've already done the math. We know I spent $362.57, which means we are a little tiny bit over budget for our variable expenses. I budgeted $350, we spent $362.57, so I'm like $12 and change over budget overall. Which isn't too bad. I do leave a little bit of a buffer in my account to help me make the ends meet when that happens. So overall, not the best week I've ever had, but certainly not the worst. Up here for savings, this is pretty easy. We already know $400 was set aside for savings. We've already stuffed that. And then for my no spends, we had 4 no spends, so we're gonna put $20 into savings today for that, which means we had a total of $420 go into savings. Anytime that my savings amount here in the actual column is higher than what I budgeted, that's a good thing, because my number one goal for 2025 is savings, to save as much as possible. So in this case, in the variable categories, when it was over budget, that wasn't necessarily the greatest thing, but being over budget in savings is good, in my opinion. So let's get the totals. We skipped right over extra debt because we are not currently focusing on making extra debt payments. So we started with $1,600. If we subtract the $700 that we set aside for our variable expenses, and we subtract $362.57 from our variable expenses. Did I say variable expenses earlier? That was fixed expenses. It doesn't matter. You guys know what I mean. And then $420 for savings. That leaves us with $117.43. And that is what's going to go to my long-term savings. So I like to keep a little bit of money in my account to act as a buffer for situations like this week when I went a little bit over budget with my groceries. But then at the end of the week, anything that I have left over, I just send over to a high yield savings account for longer term savings. So the savings I do up here under sinking funds is more like short term savings. The money that's kind of left over at the end of the week goes to just a long-term savings account. So that is everything. Overall, paycheck budget went, really well for the most part. It's always better when I can stay under budget and variable, but it wasn't too bad. So I'm gonna go ahead now and stuff my $20 for my no spends into my mini savings challenges, and that will wrap up this week of budgeting. So give me just a second to reset this space a little bit. All right, here we go, all set up to do my mini savings challenges. So I have my little binder here, and inside here I have 6 different challenges, and they are just small challenges. I can put a little bit of extra money in whenever I have it. All of this extra money ultimately does go to my sinking funds, and it's just a fun way to help bulk those funds up a little bit. So because I had 4 no spend days this week, I have $20 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And what I'm going to do is just lay all of these challenges out, 1 through 6, and then I'm going to use a die to help me figure out which I'm going to be funding today. So for challenge number 1 here, I have this adorable challenge from Savannah over at Sav Saves. It says saving money is my love language, and there's spaces here to save $5 and $2. So let me shift this out of the way here so I can make room for this. Challenge 2 is from D Plans and Budgets, the super cute little flamingo challenge. For challenge number 3, I have this snowflake challenge that I created. I do have this available as a digital download, as a freebie for you all. It is in the description box if you are interested in downloading and printing that for yourself. Let's see if I can make all of this fit in the frame here. For challenge number 4, I have this heart challenge from KathyBudgets. I will link all of these creators down below for you all as well if you'd like to go and download these challenges for yourself. Challenge number 5 is another freebie that I have available for you all that I created. And for challenge 6, I have this from Dragonfly Saves, super cute little banana challenge. All right, so what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna roll my die, and whatever number the die lands on, the correlating challenge will get 2 bills. So let's go. All right, for challenge 5, hopefully we can finish up challenge 5 today. That one's been in here for quite a while, and I think there's only a handful of bubbles left to color in for that one. Challenge 3. Ever since I switched to funding my mini savings challenges just with my no spend money, I've had less money to dedicate to these challenges, so they're taking a little bit longer, but that's okay. Every dollar kind of adds up, and eventually these will all get funded. Challenge 6. All right, we got one more roll. Maybe we can get challenge 4 so that everybody gets a little love. Nope, challenge 6. So we'll just be skipping out on challenge 4 today, but that's okay because I'm sure that I'll be able to fund Chatty Cathy's little heart challenge next week. All right, so let's go ahead and pull these back, and we will start filling in my trackers. So for challenge 1, this is a brand new challenge I'm starting today. Like I said, it's from Savannah over at Sav Saves. This came in one of my orders as a little freebie. So we are going to add $2 to this today. So we're gonna just color in this little 2 right here. And because this challenge has all of these 5s, it might take a little bit longer for me to finish, but that's okay. I'm not in any rush. So $2 so far in challenge number 1. Challenge number 2 is from D Plans and Budgets, Little Flamingo Challenge. And for today, we are going to add $1, $2, $3, $4. So I'm going to go ahead and color in this 4 right here. And with the addition of this $4, let's see what we have in total. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, $15. I believe this challenge, when everything is all said and done, is going to save 50, so still quite a ways to go. For challenge 3, I have this little snowflake challenge, and we are going to add $2 to this one today. So let's color in that too. And in this challenge overall, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $11. Wait, that's not right. These are all 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, $12. That makes more sense. So that's challenge 3. We already know challenge 4 did not get any love today, but so far in challenge 4 we have 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And we have just a handful of dollars left that this challenge needs in order to be completed. So hopefully next week we can add some more in there. All right, challenge 5, let's see. This challenge I have been working on, I believe, since the beginning of the year. And we are adding $4 more today, so still not quite finished, but we're $4 closer. Each of these bubbles is worth $1, so we're gonna color in 4 bubbles. All right, my friends, so that means we are just $4 away from being able to complete this challenge. I believe it's gonna save 50 total. And so far we've saved 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. So yeah, $4 more to go. And last but not least, then we have challenge number 6 from Dragonfly Saves, Little Monkey and Banana Challenge. And this one got the most money today. So we're gonna add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more dollars to this challenge today. And each of these bananas is worth $1. So we're gonna save 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And look at that, you guys. That means we are just $1 away from finishing this guy. So hopefully next week we will be able to complete this one and ring the bell. But for now, we've saved 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So that means when everything is all said and done, this Dragonfly Saves challenge will save me $24. And hopefully we can finish this one off next week. All right, my friends, so that is everything that I have for you today. I have to say, with stuffing less into these mini challenges, they are taking a little bit longer. So moving forward, as I complete some of these challenges and I replace them, I think I'm going to focus on replacing them with challenges that are a little bit smaller. Like these $50 challenges I've got in here are taking quite a bit of time. And like I said, I'm not in a hurry, so it's not too bad, but I definitely know for sure that I have some savings challenges that are closer to like the $16 to $20 mark. And it might be more satisfying to sprinkle a few of those in so that I can get some quicker wins. Like I said, I'm saving $5 for every no spend day that I have in a week. So there's some weeks where I'm only going to be able to add $5 or $10. And when you've got six $50 challenges in there, it doesn't make a huge dent. But we're just gonna keep on going. Every penny saved is, you know, good news. Definitely slower, but I'm not complaining. If you like this video, will you please give it a thumbs up? Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I'd love to have you come back, and I will see you next time. Bye.